Salud, greetings and salutations. What's up, guys? Merry Christmas things. Hope everybody enjoyed their Christmas. Uh, just waiting on the champ. Just waiting on the champ. Waiting on the champion. Slayer of Dragons. Eater of Worlds. Patrick J. Miletich. What's up? What's up? How's everybody doing? Merry Christmas. I guess it's over now, but Happy New Year. About to be Happy New Year. Pat, where are you? By God. I'm waiting on you, sir. Waiting on you. Hope everybody's doing well. I don't know if this is being seen. It said my internet was low and it might not work very good. What, can anybody hear? Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. What's up, that one person? Hope everybody's well. Just awaiting Patrick J. Miletich. We can chop it up on, stuff. Pat. There he is. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. I like that hat. What are we rocking there?
Bone face.
Bone face. That's funny.
So, how's St. Louis, buddy?
How's the world treating you, brother?
Doing all right. Doing all right. Had a good.
What's that?
Doing all right. Had a good 28-mile stationary bike workout, and then 30 minutes in the sauna. Just tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. is a good nasty leg workout. So
you're working off those holiday pounds. You're working off that turkey and the mashed potatoes and the Croatian pudding or whatever you guys do over there.
This is the first holiday in my life where I'm actually losing weight.
Good for you.
I'm still eating, though. I'm still eating, buddy. Still eating.
Well, as long as you're active, you know what I mean? You're not an old man. So it's like, you still got that metabolism going as long as you're out there putting in the work.
Got to spend the time to burn it off, though, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. You're chopping up a little bit.
Well, I will talk slow.
Yep, you sound like. There you go. There you go. So, what are we talking about? We got a lot to talk about, man. 2018's been awesome. Yeah, you sound like fucking. No. Sounds bad. Sounds bad, champ.
I sound bad?
You can't understand a word you're saying.
Well, I apologize for that.
There we go. Heard that. What's up, Artez? Thank you, brother. We are definitely going to be bringing, as the kids say, the pain to 93.5 ESPN K-Jock. It's going to be awesome, man. It's going to be awesome. Hard work is definitely paying off. There's no substitute for hard work, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we've had some fun guests already, some big name guests, some fun people. So it's going to be a fun adventure doing that.
More to come
for our positive mindset show.
Yes, the yin to the yang.
Our friends, right?
Can we say where else both shows will be seen on television?
Yeah, I mean, in the future, it's going to happen.
It is a very, very, very distinct possibility, ladies and gentlemen, that both the Conspiracy Farm and Everything Combat, because life is a fight, will be seen on Dish TV. We don't have the channel quite yet, but we will be able to blast
Dish
that
and
channel
direct.
out.
Dish and
direct. So you will be able to see both shows. Stephen Watt, you might even be able to see both shows up in Canada. I'm not sure how far Dish and satellite and all that goes, but once we drop the channel, you'll be able to see that all over the country. So hopefully everybody will be able to share that. It'll also be on YouTube, the on-camera version, but we also want to pub that Dish TV. But every single Monday, starting next Monday, ladies and gentlemen, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., 93.5 ESPN Radio K-Jock, you will find myself and the Croatian sensation Pat Miletich chopping it up each and every week with different people from different walks of life, whether they're famous, not famous, who have overcome whatever obstacle in life, because the tagline is because life is a fight, and everybody, I don't care who you are, has their fight in life and trying to overcome something to get to that next level. Jeff Pickett, that was the name I was thinking about, Pat, the guy that works at our local outlet.
The man.
The man, JP. What's up, Jeff Pickett? Gonna be heading back that way here in a few days, man. So me and your boy can make some magic.
Yeah, I've got a full belly, so I'm not overly talkative right now, but we've got a lot of stuff going on with the Conspiracy Farm, a lot of stuff going on with Everything Combat. We've got a huge guest coming up. God, I wish we could tell everybody who it was going to be. But
yeah,
I mean, we've already had some great ones. Dan Gable, my childhood idol, was nice enough to come on and join us. That was a great conversation to have with him. But
that was.
I mean, let's talk Conspiracy Farm stuff first. I mean, we might as well discuss what's going on here. I mean, we've got the Federal Reserve stuff that's going on. We've got Syria, Russia, Israel, Turkey. Russia's warning Turkey to stay the hell out of Syria. All kinds of stuff going on. Fethullah, that crazy bastard, still roaming around our country. The border stuff. The crazy stuff with the UFC going on.
Well, where do you want to start? I mean, heck, let's go back, maybe a month or so ago. Donald Trump talking about extraditing somebody we've talked about many, many, many times on the show, Turkish Imam Fethullah Gulen, who, long story short, I don't care about the charter schools he's been running. He's been, and his multi-billion-dollar foundation has been funding terror throughout the world. Do not sleep on that. So he was talking about extraditing him around the same time. People don't really know this, but part of what pinched General Flynn was General Flynn basically didn't register as a foreign agent because he was doing business with Turkey. Turkey asked him to kidnap Fethullah Gulen and snatch him up and bring him back to Turkey. And he did not disclose that, but that's just kind of one of the.
Well, but I found it. But he did disclose that he was doing consulting for Turkey.
He did.
Just not putting together some black ops CIA boys to scoop that bastard up.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to digress back to. Did you happen to see, Pat, the guy in the vape store who melted down on the guy with the Trump T-shirt on?
Dear God, that guy.
Did you see that?
Shit. Well, that sums up why Trump won in 2016 and why he's going to win again in 2020. These people have lost just collective minds, dude.
I mean, that was a grown man. He was screaming at him like his dad just took away his Xbox controller or something. I mean, it was crazy. That was a grown man, dude. And he got fired. He wound up getting fired.
I'll go get my T-shirt collection right now and pull it out.
Well, I mean,
you have no idea what I'm about to start wearing in 2019.
Well, I mean, again, we should be able to see and disagree with people about their politics without it going to that. I mean, that was crazy, dude. He decided he's not going to serve this human being because he disagrees with him politically. What?
Right. No, that's all. Look, if I was a Democrat, if I was a registered Democrat, I would have to sit back. If you have to say to yourself, try to put yourself in. I mean, you how to put it? You and I both are fairly liberal when it comes to people's own personal lives, right?
Sure.
I mean, if you're not hurting anybody, do what you want. I don't care. Just don't force me to agree with you. Don't threaten me with losing my job for not agreeing with what you do, and just don't do the same to me. Just live and let live.
I mean, it's golden rule. It's basic shit. Golden rule all day long. Do unto people as you want done unto yourself. It's really, really not complicated. But this notion that this is that kind of.
Rod Doggo saying, where can I see the vape guy video?
Oh, dude, it's all over
the place.
Yeah, you go to YouTube, punch in vape guy Trump or something. I mean, you'll see it. The guy.
Well, then the transgender lost her shit in the store. Dude. nothing more woman-like than saying, call me a man again, I'll take your ass outside and beat the shit out of you. That's how the ladies roll, buddy.
With the Sergeant Slaughter square ass jaw with shoulders like fucking Jim Brown. Like, all right, dude. No,
but going back to being if I was a registered Democrat, I'd be going, what what is happening to these people? They vote like me. You have to say to yourself, they vote like you. They vote like you. They vote for the same things you vote for. And they act like this. And they have tantrums and they wear pussy hats. And they cancel women's marches in California because there were too many white women registered, you fucking morons. God. Isn't that insane?
I mean, again, it's you know, oftentimes on the show, Pat, you and I look for rational explanations for straight irrational things. You know what I mean?
Christian Sutton, my buddy Christian Sutton, read that. Read that.
Pat Miletich, let's have a T-shirt duel in 2019. If you say no, I will tell Andrew. Who's Andrew?
Andrew's the CEO of Access TV Fights.
Oh, the war has begun. Yeah, Lance, what up? Shout out to my big bro, L Dub.
I saw Lance at Hy-Vee today.
Did you? Yeah, man. I'm going to be going back shacking up with him for a couple weeks while we get shit off the ground.
Lance,
big bro, Lance.
6'7". Lance, 6'7" blonde.
For real, dude. That chick needs to go into the wrestling circuit immediately. A call needs to be made to Vince McMahon stat.
Oh. Anyway, so moving on. No, Laura Loomer. Our friend Laura Loomer, buddy.
Yeah, I don't think
when we had our good friend George. Remember George?
George?
The Marine, George?
Oh, yeah, George Pardos. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we had him on about the Las Vegas shooting, and he agreed with us. I mean, he disagrees with us on a lot of different subjects, but he totally agreed with us that the likelihood of Paddock being the shooter was very low. I mean, Paddock, it was the day after the shooting. They sent out the pictures of Paddock laying there dead in his pool of blood underneath his head. They don't do that for crime scenes. That doesn't happen unless they want a narrative to come out, right?
Yeah, no, and that was way, way, way suspicious. And even then, dude, and I'm no forensic pathologist or whatever, but when you see that puddle of blood behind his head, there was like an old puddle, and then there was like a newer puddle on top of that. And what you're leading to, Laura Loomer basically discovered through reading these court documents, the actual Las Vegas PD themselves, in the report from the Las Vegas, when these guys got interviewed, they basically, a lot of these higher ups were like, A, Paddock's been dead longer than us just storming in the room, and B, they all said something about there were multiple shooters, let's go find these other shooters, and then even talking about trying to wiretap the other shooters. This is in the report from the Las Vegas PD's mouth, so
listen to this, dude. Listen to this. Yeah, it says, this is a quote from the court documents.
Hold on, you're breaking up, man.
This is the Las Vegas Police Department documents and court documents down in Vegas.
Yeah, read that.
So I go in there. This is a law enforcement officer. So I go in there, and I could see the suspect laying on the ground, and the blood had started to coagulate by his head. I'm reading this the way he stutters and everything. So it appears that based on the time I didn't think it. It looked like there was no way that the gunshots that we did from the time frame based on the blood coagulating like they shot him. You know, when I looked at him, I immediately thought to myself, this guy has been dead for more time than we've been in this room. So, as
and remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is the officer. This is the Las Vegas police officer saying this in the report.
Yeah, and then they said there was a lie where they said
he saw him shoot himself in the head right when they ran in.
And that's not the truth. The blood was coagulated. The blood had coagulated. He'd been laying there so long.
Read the part where he says about the multiple shooters and the wiretaps. That's where the cops actually say there's multiple shooters.
Yeah, I'm digging through
in Las Vegas, just in case you're wondering what we're talking about. Yeah, that broke today actually on Laura Loomer's
basically
website.
He described upon entering room 32-135, he immediately realized that alleged Vegas shooter Stephen Paddock had been dead for a long time prior to SWAT entering the room. And then they were talking in here. I'm trying to find this now.
Yeah. Well, again, at the end of the day,
Sergeant Matsko's statement directly contradict Sheriff Joe Lombardo's claim that Paddock killed himself just moments before SWAT entered the suite at Mandalay Bay, but it also contradicts claims made by Sergeant Jerry McDonald, in which he stated that officers witnessed Paddock commit suicide. On that night, police say Paddock 64 opened fire from the 32nd floor. Everybody knows that, killing 58 people, injuring 800 more. Still has not provided a motive for the shooting, remains adamant that Paddock was a lone wolf. Further examination of Sergeant Matchko's statements also challenges claims made by Lombardo and FBI that Paddock was the lone wolf shooter. Matchko emphasized that there's 1 million active shooters. At the time, officers found Paddock's body inside Suite 32-135 at the Mandalay Bay Resort. And then the crazy thing is, when we talked about the Saudi prince that was escorted, he was in another casino gambling. And there's
do you think that's who that was? Who got escorted out? Do you think that's who that was?
Yeah, I looked at the pictures of him in the casino, and then matched at the pictures of other pictures of him, and it looks exactly like him. But the crazy thing is that, the Saudis own the top 4 floors at Mandalay Bay, right?
Yeah.
So they believed that it was going to be a hit on him, but things went. That was like a cover-up for it. That the shooting.
All right, so here's the part that the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department released 18 voluntary statements made by officers who responded to the shooting in Las Vegas, October. One of the documents that stood out from the rest was the sworn statement of Sergeant William Matchko, in which he states the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department knew of multiple shooters who they planned to wiretap after they discovered Stephen Paddock's dead body and suspected suicide. What the fuck?
Yeah. So, interesting. Rod Doggo saying, my friend sent me pics of posters posted all over Las Vegas 2 to 4 weeks prior for movie extras for simulated fire shooting drills. People with vids saying the shots sounded like they were through the speaker system. Not to mention,
yeah, I heard that one.
Full autopsy. The crazy thing is, I talked to a couple ladies who were working that concert for. They were TV production people.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And they were terrified to come on our show and talk about it.
Well, the other part of this, what about the scene?
They said there were multiple shooters. They said there were shooters on the ground. And they were hiding in the trailers right there next to the stage. And they said shots were ringing out right next to us, literally.
That's fucking crazy, dude. Well, yeah. and then the key bono aspect of this, who benefits? What about the CEO that sold his shares of stocks prior to the shooting and then rebought them?
Rod's on top of it.
Cheap days after.
Talking about.
Yeah, I forget. When we talked about George, I forget who that name is, but they're trying to bring. I mean, there's a whole kind of that happened, and I forget the name of who that individual is, but you're absolutely right. And they're trying to bring in scanners, and I mean, there's always somebody who benefits after this. But I don't know, dude. I was wondering, like, it's starting to sound to me that it was a legitimate kind of terrorist attack, that they didn't want. It wasn't one of theirs. It might have been like a battle. I don't know. Was it, if it was related to bin Al Salman and some? I mean, I don't. Fuck, dude. What the hell was going on that night?
There's it's like a tangled mess of spaghetti. They did it, it's very well put together and very well covered up from what I can tell. I mean,
well, it sounds like Paddock was kind of part of it, but he got kind of Oswalded. Took the fall.
Well, I mean, obviously he was part of it in one way or another, whether he was suspecting that it was actually going to be a mass shooting, that it was going to be an assassination, or if he thought he was doing a weapons deal. He was obviously a guy with airplanes that was flying some stuff, flying some dope, flying some weapons, probably. So.
All right, Christian Sutton. Since you asked, fuck, I might have the wrong notebook, dude. That CEO who sold his stuff. Yeah, if you don't mind, because this is a newer notebook.
The CEO of Mandalay Bay.
I think it was Mandalay Bay.
Well, but there's also the CEO, the board of guys that.
Just punch in Las Vegas shooting sold stocks, and that name I'm sure will come up.
Jim Murren.
Who?
Jim Murren, international chairman, CEO.
I think so. I think that's right. Yeah, Christian, you can look that up. That's
the company that had the contracts for all the airport scanners.
Not just the scanners. It was the actual. It was the stock in the company, in the parent company of Mandalay Bay, whatever that was. You can look that up, Christian. There's definitely. I'm not defensive like you're doubting it, so it's not a big deal because the information is public. But
so now do a board of directors on Rapiscan.
Right. Yeah,
right?
I mean, you could always kind of track down who's benefiting and stuff. But yeah, that's this kind of breaking news about the Las Vegas stuff.
Well, and we covered all this stuff. I mean, we've covered it and forgotten about a lot of the stuff.
I know.
But, there's so much going on. There's so much in so many different areas of the world going on that's corrupt and doesn't fit right and everything else.
Well, even like Lance just said, the acoustics and logistics that were going off we heard from that cab, the audio from the cab, you heard like clack, 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 and then you heard like clack, 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 clack. Like you heard a more muffled shooting sound. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty evident there were two
I've listened to those. I've watched those videos, and that it's very clear. There were shooters in different locations.
Jerry Kingery just said, I heard security guards heard shots coming from the second or third floor. I mean, and then you had all of those active shooters that are going the Tropicana to New York, New York. I mean, they were just all over the place, dude. It was quite the cluster. Christian the guy sold close to Hey, our boy Stephen Watt, our first T-shirt buyer from Canada. The guy sold close to 300,000 shares. Thank you, Stephen. If you can get his name for us. Stephen was our first, dude. My boy Stephen Watt up in Canada, eh? What's that about?
All right, so then, go ahead.
So we got Trump pulling out of Syria. You got Mattis retiring, kicked to the curb. He was going to stay till February, but Trump's like, nope, I want you out now.
Well, I mean, he's moving on. He's a business-minded guy. He obviously respects Mattis. He loves Mattis. Those guys they just disagreed on the Syria deal, and here's what it is. I mean, how long has everybody been wanting to get out of these wars in terms of citizens, politicians, everybody else, right?
Well, no, they wanted to keep us in it to keep that money machine going, dude. War is a racket.
Right. Those that are benefiting.
Well, again, most oftentimes the function of empire is to expand empire. And I don't think just because we pulled out, we're like we're somehow like, we just don't want to be in the war. I think we pulled out so America's and, the Israelis can come in and wreck shop. The Turkish can come in and wreck the Kurds. I really don't think that's going, and Syria and Iran are still on the table as far as I'm concerned. It's probably just going to take a lot longer since Russia beat that ass.
Yeah.
Russia
warning Israel to stay the hell out of there. That's not good, dude.
No. But, I mean, it's an interesting development. I mean, that was a pretty crazy 48 hours, us getting out of Syria, Mattis resigning all of a sudden. I mean, it was just, that was pretty freaking huge. James Murren, that's it. James Murren. He sold them on September 8th, weeks before the shooting. Christian, if you heard that. James Murren. Hey, Stephen, what was his position, James Murren?
He was the CEO. He was the CEO.
James Murren was the CEO. Pimp Juice. Thank you, Stephen. You're the man. So, yeah, there's always kind of a key bono who's benefiting with Las Vegas. But as we just found out today from Laura Loomer, from police actual reports, they're saying they knew of multiple shooters. Paddock was dead well before they stormed that room. So just interesting developments, man. What did I have? I had some more stuff written down.
An overweight 65-year-old smoker shooting automatic weapons for that long. I've shot full auto. I just don't see an old man being able to do that for very long at all. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's why I say it's absurd. It sounds like Oswald. Like he used this crappy rifle he mail ordered when he could have got a sweeter rifle, and just you know what I mean? Shot 3 seconds, 3 shots in 6 seconds. It's just absurd. But then we're supposed to believe this here in 2018, a similar, different but similar narrative about, like you said, an out of shape 60-year-old unloading thousands of rounds. It's just what?
He's most likely a CIA delivery boy with an airplane flying dope and weapons, but he needed a bump stock for his guns.
and his plane, right? Didn't they track his plane to some kind of Democratic operation or something having to do with
Former
government
Obama administration guy, yeah. So,
Murren
once
was
you get back
CEO of
to
MGM, which
when we get back to Fethullah, most people don't even know who he is.
yeah, like if you go back to episode 1, like we brought his name up, episode 1 of the conspiracy farm. So Fethullah Gulen is of the Turkish imam that got snatched up during the Clinton administration and brought over here. And essentially, whether people want to get into it or recognize it or not, I really don't care. But do your homework. The West and her allies help fund terrorism. It's just a problem reaction solution. They're proxies. Back in the day when England wanted to take out a Spanish ship to avoid war, they would take privateers and have them attack the ship, so it's not under the name of England or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's essentially what's happening, going back to us funding the Mujahideen. So we use proxy forces all of the time. It's not anything new. So that's what's been going on for quite a while. And Fethullah Gulen, through his billion-dollar foundation, has been under the guise of having this charter school and all these charter schools, and has been funding terror and facilitating terror throughout the world for a very, very long time. So Trump is talking about extraditing him finally, but this is also the guy.
And the president of Turkey will hang his ass.
Dude, if he gets back to Turkey, dude, it's going to make what happened to Gaddafi look like a spa treatment, yo.
Yeah.
Serious.
It's not going to be good. Khashoggi style.
Khashoggi style, yeah. And that's Bonesaw.
So Khashoggi being Time Magazine's Man of the Year is it's hilarious. I saw that at the grocery store today again, and is
that real? For real?
Yes, I was laughing. I laughed. I was in line to check out. I started laughing. And I just wanted to click a picture of it and go, you see all these media, these liberal media hacks on Twitter going, Trump doesn't care that a reporter, a journalist was murdered. And like he was Saudi intelligence and turned into a double agent on behalf of Qatar. Got found out and got killed. I mean, and Khashoggi's brother, what was it? His brother-in-law that sells. He's the biggest private arms dealer in the world. He's selling weapons to terrorists everywhere.
Do you know that Donald Trump bought one of his first 747s from Khashoggi's dad in the late 70s and 80s?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, look.
Oh, what a tangled web, brother.
Well, he didn't. He obviously doesn't care that Khashoggi ended up dead. I mean, think about it. If you're a double agent against your country and your country happens to be Saudi Arabia, what do you expect to happen if you get found out?
Well, and and again, I hate to have to qualify these statements. I'm not a huge Trump stumper. Didn't vote for the guy, but I find his frankness refreshing. And when he said, "Yeah, I know bin Salman did it. Yeah, it was ugly. It was horrible, man. They're one of our biggest allies." It was business before PR and optics, dude. It was like, yeah, I get it. They cut him up and skinned his face. Okay. They've been our biggest allies in that region, and we need them. You know what I mean? It was quite gangster, dude. It was like, I don't really – okay, I'm sorry. It doesn't look pretty to you guys, but have you guys ever ran a freaking country before? It's like – it's interesting, man. It's very interesting, the game of risk my man Trump is playing, because he just doesn't care, dude.
Did you see what Pickett said?
What does it say?
Camper framed his copy of Time Magazine. Is that what you meant?
Where's Bill been, dude? I guess we haven't done much live, but last time we were on, he came in like minutes too late and commented after we were already off. But Bill Camper, where you at, buddy?
Right. So let's talk about. You want to talk about everything combat? What are we doing here? I mean, I'm excited.
Well, let's.
You and I are Quad City natives. We get to do a
bring it back home, baby.
We're on ESPN. Great. It's
Dish TV, it's not, ESPN,
but it's not sports related necessarily. It's
not just
related.
Not just sports related.
There will be athletes on there, obviously, but they're everybody from. I mean, the average everyday person who became a superhero by beating cancer. the person that overcame obesity, the person that succeeded in business when they didn't have a pot to piss in to begin with. So that's going to be a lot of fun, man. That's going to be a very cool show, and we get to do it at the Rock and Roll Mansion.
It's going to be awesome.
Christian, you work for Disney now.
That is kind of true, isn't it? That is kind of true.
It's not because Disney owns ESPN, but ESPN's not writing us checks. Right.
That's true. Right.
We're doing a different business model. So there, Christian. We don't work for Disney. So there.
Hey, you gotta get in where you fit in, man. Yeah, it's it'll be fun though. I mean, believe me, man. All of this has been. It's always kind of the journey, not so much the destination, because we're not done. We're just getting started. But it's been an awesome journey, quite frankly, Champ. I've really obviously enjoyed everything combat and doing Conspiracy Farm with you, and it's just we've had some ups and downs, man. Like I ain't even gonna lie. There's been times where I was starting to reach for that white flag and start raving that son of a bitch because it's been a tough road. But I'm glad we've stuck it out, and some really cool stuff's going to come from this. I think
that we're going to, because we're going to make waves and we're going to be over the target. Not in terms of everything combat. Everything combat is just there to motivate people. It's all stories of success. People have succeeded in the face of adversity and horrible situations. But with the Conspiracy Farm, I think we're going to be over the target on a lot of things, and I think we're going to continue to catch flack from the powers that be. I think it's going to happen.
And I'm excited, as we've talked about, to be able to attack it from terrestrial radio, dish TV, but also have our digital platform, our podcast, et cetera, et cetera. So these guys that we're working with, I can't even begin to thank them enough, because this is what we've been looking for. People who are really energetic about what we're doing, who really understand our larger vision. I mean, they're helping us build a studio. I mean, it's just ultimate thanks and infinite thanks to all these guys. But yeah, man, I appreciate.
Yeah, Troy and Jay, they've helped
Jay
us a
Foster,
lot.
T. Roy.
Klinger has helped us a lot over there. We've gotten advice from Dwyer and Michaels, from a lot of people on just on that platform of radio, and so we're certainly thankful to all those people for helping us out.
So Rod Doggo, that's every Monday night, ESPN 93.5. You can be able to listen to us live 7 to 8 p.m. The archived episodes will be on our SoundCloud, Everything Combat SoundCloud page, iTunes, et cetera, et cetera. All of our online platforms will remain the same, where you can get the shows. We will have an on-camera version for both shows now. Both will be on our YouTube channels, as well as our Dish TV channel for both, but we don't have our Dish TV channel quite yet. But when we do, obviously, we'll be sounding that out like the horn of Gondor, just to let everybody know where they can find us on the telly. Stephen Watt, I love when you guys do the Swapcast with Sam Tripoli. A lot of great minds coming together. Man, I love doing that. I love my boy Sam.
Good time.
That's really fun, man. It's really cool to be able to link up with cats who don't mind sharing the love. That Swapcast model of like, hey, man, I'll put your stuff on my platform and we'll swap. That's pretty sweet, because some people get pretty territorial in this game.
And, I want to talk more about the Federal Reserve, because a lot of people were asking me about that. And the first book that I always tell people to read when I got into it a little bit with David Rothschild on Twitter the other day, and I do.
Did you now? Did you now?
Yeah, we have a bit of an issue with each other, because he's a bullshitter, of course.
I can only imagine.
And he attacks Trump like you wouldn't believe. Tells Trump to eat shit and everything else. He's a very dangerous person. And even though I disagreed with Obama's everything he did, literally almost, I would never do that and say that directly to a president and tag him in a tweet. You just don't do that. So the guy's got issues. He says he's an economist coming from the Rothschild family. Says he's not related to the Rothschild family. Is a, I don't know, pseudo journalist, whatever the hell he is. But I called him out on some stuff, and I said the gold standard's coming, man. The Federal Reserve's going to die. Monetary systems have a lifespan, and they've over history lasted around.
You're on Mars again, dude.
What's that? What's that?
Yeah, you're on Mars. There you go.
Yeah, I'm good.
You sounded like you were on Mars for a second.
Okay,
Now you are.
but I tell people when they want to know about the Federal Reserve, the first book they need to read is The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin, and that book will give you a very good understanding of the diabolical, heinous existence of that central bank. They didn't call it the central bank anymore. They called it the Federal Reserve to make it sound like the government, and slipped it in over a Christmas break. A few
Which, I mean, you
strategic.
can't really overstate that, Champ, because that's what we've talked about before as far as constitutionality. Basically, the existence of a central bank is literally unconstitutional. These guys
Right.
aren't federal. They're owned. The federal bank and the board of governors is all foreign banks. And congressionally, legally, Congress has to determine the money, coin money, and determine the value thereof. That's Congress's job. And they ceded that over in 1913 with the Federal Reserve Act. That's pretty, I mean, just on its kind of face, just straight illegal, but that's, over 100 years ago, when we've just been, reaping the benefits of that ever since, right?
Right. I mean, I've said it till I'm blue in the face. I even said it during a speech to introduce Rand Paul at St. Ambrose University when he was running for president in 2016. And I said, do Americans understand that their money and monetary system is controlled by foreigners? How is that even possible? How are those people even allowed to do that? How is the Federal Reserve still in existence that the American people have been duped for over 100 years, 105 years now? I remember the anniversary of the Federal Reserve, right, in 2013. And I've been studying it for about a decade at least. But 2013 came around and I was in a bad mood, just in a bad mood the whole day, just thinking about it. And I've read The Creature from Jekyll Island probably 5 times. I've still got a movie script that I've written tied around the creation of the Federal Reserve and central banking and all of that sort of stuff, along with time travel and special forces. That's it's a pretty interesting movie script. But everything's changing so fast. But no, the American people need to understand and they should be furious and demand that the Federal Reserve be abolished. And Rand Paul and Ron Paul for years have said we need to audit the Federal Reserve because they know what an audit of the Federal Reserve leads to, and that's its abolition. Right. So
well, and if we really get that, I mean, so many of our taxes go for paying interest on these guys printing money out of thin air. Literally, they just print, like, that's what that quantitative easing is. Oh, we need however many more trillion dollars. Just turn on the printing press. And ultimately, I mean, even just how they print money anyway, just out of thin air, and we pay interest on that.
Anymore though, that's just a stroke on one of these to create the money.
What's that? Oh, I know. No, precisely. Right? I mean,
that's
it's dialed in. And our boy Peter Schiff, man, I saw an article he wrote today, and is like that. What is going to happen? The new implosion that's going to happen is going to make 2008 look like a cakewalk, because this bubble is just completely unsustainable with all this quantitative easing and Yeah, amen to the audit, brother.
Stephen Watt said the Federal Reserve knows where the missing $2 trillion went before 9/11. Well, what about the $22 trillion missing from the Pentagon's coffers over all the years? 22 trillion has been unaccounted for. How do you not account? How can you lose?
I know. It's insane, dude. It's insane. That's what I mean, just on its face, it's insane. But we freak out for a second, like, oh shit, and then we're just like, well, I can't really do anything about it. What am I gonna do about it? And then just go back to Dancing with the Stars. It's crazy. I don't really know what the hell to do about it. Who do you hold accountable for fucking 22 trillion missing? It's just, we just go on with it, and then we're just like, it's just crazy. Yeah, I mean, this notion of like, hey, politics is corrupt. It's like, really, okay.
Money sprinkled around just to you and to you
everywhere.
Here, give me some machine guns. Give me some white phosphorus, some phosphorus weapons.
What do they call that? Don't they call that crony capitalism?
I believe so. Yes, I believe so. No, but Trump, when he was running for president, the cool thing about it was, I caught it. I don't know if you caught it. I don't know if anybody else caught it that's watching. You guys tell me if you caught when Trump said, when he was running for president, just a couple times in passing, it was like a wisp, where he said, and I'm going to take a close look at the Federal Reserve and getting rid of it. And we're talking about, the audit and things like that. It was just in passing, just real quick and gone.
No, I get it. But I mean, Trump's not an idiot. He knows who his base is, and he knows that his base understands what that means. And I mean, I almost what people say in campaign mode and what happens in real life is like almost apples and oranges because, oh shit.
You went out on me, bud. There you
Damn.
are. So I thought you didn't pay your
Yeah, my thing shut down.
No, but
that will be
so I think
What'd you say?
Trump, well, I think that Trump's saying, of late here, saying he's not happy with the Federal Reserve and trying to destroy his economy and what he's been doing. I don't doubt that for a minute.
You're on Mars again, dude.
Okay, am I there? Hello?
Yeah, you're on Mars again.
Christian.
This is what you get when you live out in the country.
Hey, I can see people coming from a long way.
Yeah, answer that question. I'll be right back. Answer Christian's question.
Hey, said, is it possible that the missing money is for Space Force? That's a good question. Christian Sutton's a very good question there. That a lot of it could be, buddy. A lot of it could be. But anyway, it's back to the Federal Reserve and it's being abolished. I think that Trump, if they don't kill him first, I think he'll kill it after his election in 2020. I think he'll definitely win again.
My bad.
I think that Trump will win again, and I think that he'll kill the Federal Reserve after he wins his second term, buddy. He will.
I think you need to pass what you be smoking, Pat Miletich. I don't think there's any scenario where the Federal Reserve goes down.
Here's the thing.
I mean, again, he's the master of the work. It's just too. The Federal Reserve goes beyond just the U.S. I mean, it's just like
of course. It's a global network of banks, but it doesn't. Ultimately, if we go back to look, China just went back to the gold standard, dude. Right?
With their Petrotron, absolutely.
Yeah. So why wouldn't we? You remember this is a group of gangsters, as you put it, a group of gangsters in power now, the new sheriff in town, taking out the old guard. Right? And monetary systems, we both know, we're both smart enough to know the history of monetary systems, besides the Byzantine Empire, which lasted the monetary system they had because they were frugal. They didn't overprint money. Their monetary system lasted for a long, long time. But monetary systems anymore are about 100, 150 years, and we've reached that. This monetary system is done. It has been, what used to be $1 is now worth 2 cents. Okay, so the depreciation in the value of the American dollar, it's done, dude. The American dollar is done. So we've got to go to a new monetary system, and it has to be gold backed, right? That's what I'm saying. So
yeah, you've heard about it's. I mean, enter the blockchain, enter crypto. I mean, I get it. They get so many viable options. I know you probably heard in the last 20 years. I know Trump has broken up the unions, the North American Union, et cetera, but there was once talk of an Amero. Basically, almost like a Euro version of
that was the globalists, the central bank trying to monetary system globally eventually, because they wanted the Chinese note in Asia, they wanted the American dollar here for Canada, South America, Mexico, all that, and then the euro, and then those three eventually would get merged into one monetary note globally. Is what their plans were. Trump's destroying that. Trump's absolutely destroying that, and Britain's destroying the plans with Brexit in Europe. And the British people are furious with their leaders right now because they've gone against the people's will to get out of the euro, and then the French citizens are losing their minds. Brussels, their leader, Belgium's leader, got overthrown and kicked out. Dude, they're marching in the streets in Europe everywhere because of this ridiculous UN migration pact that was signed, the Paris Accord garbage, global. I don't know whether to call it global cooling, global warming, or climate change anymore. They've changed the name of it so many times. So it's a huge awakening.
Lance says blockchain is officially. It is. And Lance just said blockchain is officially broken. I mean, I have to disagree because you have so many of these big high banks are getting hip to crypto, so they've already put and switched a lot of their resources into blockchain and crypto. That's why for the last 6-8 months, I do believe, and even longer than that, the dollar is on its last leg, but it's going to be something. I mean, the alternative is also going to be something they control, I think. Because, I mean, I think gold is something to kind of easily manipulate when you can kind of buy up
Well,
your own and kind of fix the prices and stuff. But I mean, what you just said a minute ago about China and the emergence of the Petro Yuan, we recognize, we even talked with our last swap cast with Corbett and everybody, China is the next fucking behemoth coming down the pike, and they've already switched their stuff to their Petro Yuan. So I think we're almost kind of Johnny come lately, but we're in that mode too of switching from, like you said, that old economic Federal Reserve model to something else, whatever it is, whether it's crypto, whether it's I don't even know, a globe, not global unit, but like an Amero or a whatever it is. I do agree.
Banks, when you talk about the banks doing their doing their own crypto, their own currency, digital currency. Well, the whole reason for digital currency was to get away from the control of the central banks and the control of the governments and everything else over the trade of the private citizens, the private sector. So the banks don't even understand. They're not smart enough to even understand that we don't want any part of that. We don't want your digital currency. We want our own, right?
Well, wasn't that kind of the whole thing? It's anonymous, it's decentralized, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
I mean, But I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's no way these cats who've been running it for so long are just going to be left out. And I disagree to think that they're not smart enough to get ahead of the curve, because you see a lot of these companies already are in the last few years. A lot of these guys have already started to pivot their stuff to digital currencies. Which one, I don't know. But I mean, it seems to me the whole digital thing is the next kind of evolution, because, not to get too macro on it, but the technocracy is where they want us. They want us all tagged and bagged. What I see today is some company where they're freaking people are lined up to get the chip in their hand. I mean, they're moving away from cash. You know what I mean? Fiat currencies are definitely in the death throes because they want some form, whatever it is, of trackable transactions. Cash anonymous transactions are like almost gone now.
Right.
Or will be gone.
Ammo will always be currency. Right?
What about it? Yeah.
Ammo will always be currency. And you wonder if they do go back to the gold standard. Remember when we went to the gold standard, they confiscated gold. They confiscated everybody's gold. So will they do that again?
Well, and you see in the last few years, dude, when China asked the Federal Reserve or whoever it was for their gold, China found out a grip of it was gold plated and actually tungsten inside. So it's like, dude, and this was before they announced their Petro Yuan. So I mean, it's like obviously always in the world of the global chessboard, the grand chessboard, there's crazy machinations. But dude, if I'm a country and I ask for all my gold and all my shits in tungsten and gold plated, like that's scrapping. That's time for scrapping. Willie, hush, Willie.
My dogs are going off. See, I've got warning systems, early alert systems.
Know, right? That's what I need right there. Well, we can't slide out of here. I mean, anything you want to close out on the conspiracy farm and kind of what we got coming up next?
Well, I mean, we've talked about a lot of it, but we're going to cover a lot more stuff as it happens. I think the Democrats are taking over Congress here in a few days, literally. Brutal, dude, brutal. So I mean,
business is about to pick up on the subpoena tip.
Oh, dude, it's just the impeachment talk. Look, for those out there that don't understand it, you have to have 2/3 of a majority vote in the Senate to impeach a president. It's not going to happen. Pelosi and all these lunatics that are talking about impeachment, these people have lost their minds. And I mean, the rhinos that are still in there, the people need to recognize the rhinos that are involved in Congress and the Senate, the people that are Republican by name only, that's a rhino. They need to be voted out. We need to get rid of them and take this country back more and more towards the Constitution, because if we don't, it's going to get ugly. And I honestly believe that if Hillary Clinton had won the election, that the things she would be doing would be exactly what's happening that Macron and Merkel and everybody else are doing in Europe with the Paris Accord bullshit climate that we're paying, that we would have been footing the bill for the UN migration, unfettered, just uncontrolled migration from nations that, just sending hordes of people in. And I think there would have been a civil war. I think we'd already have been in a civil war. I really do. Because if the people in Europe that can't even carry weapons are willing to march and go head to head with massive amounts of law enforcement, with UN armored personnel vehicles in Paris, you don't think Americans, 100 million of us that own weapons, would have gone off, right?
That's what I'm saying. I almost said it jokingly, but the French have that kind of laissez-faire, passive attitude. Supposedly, they're not the most engaging as far as warfare. But
they suck.
I mean, that's my point. Is like they're the one losing their mind, and we're over here still like, what's? I mean, we've been fucked over for quite a long time, and we're still like, uber distracted and not engaged. But these guys are like in the millions on the streets. It started with the gas hike, but they're tired of that immigration.
That's what it was. That's not what it was. It was about the migration. It was about the taxes.
I'm saying it was a part of it. It was a part of it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying it was a part of it. But I mean, if you go back to ancient Rome, this is what pretty much destroyed fucking ancient Rome. I'm not against fucking immigration, but the way they fabricated all of this to create this immigration crisis is to destroy some of these countries in Europe and even states in the United States. So, I mean, I love the bleeding heart aspect of the border and everything. I wish it was good, too, where these countries didn't have to be in a situation where they needed to come over here desperate or whatever. But so much of this shit is manufactured to, on a larger state, create a voting block, more free shit we got to pay for. And, when Trump talks about it being an invasion force, it's not a hard invasion force. Like, they're going to come and shoot everybody. It's a soft invasion force, dude. I mean, again, go back to fucking ancient Rome or ancient times where the immigration situation overflowed, was just too much, and it wound up fucking up a lot of these societies. So we could take a note from that, man, and not be so we're xenophobic or you're just heartless if you don't want immigrant, whatever. I mean, this has all been weaponized, dude. This has all been weaponized for a much larger agenda.
Let me get to this. When you said xenophobe, misogynistic, this, that, whatever. As far as the French go, they suck at war, but they're great at revolutions. That's one thing I'll give them. Right? horrible at war.
Oh my God, that's a T-shirt. That's a T-shirt like a motherfucker.
They have kick-ass revolutions, though. They behead royals and all that shit. So that's one area they kick ass at. But I was thinking about this the other day, where everybody's focused on Trump, calling him a misogynist and all this other stuff. And then I went, wait a minute, think about this. The major religions in the world, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, has there ever been even remotely a chance for a female to run and be the head of any of those religions?
When you say run, like Jesus,
like why can't there be a female pope? Oh, what's wrong with the Catholic religion besides molesting boys at rampant fucking pace? But I'm just saying, dude.
It's not funny.
I'm just saying.
I agree.
Why aren't all the liberals pointing their fingers at the Pope and at the imams and all the rabbis?
And I love you for it because I do it too. We're attempting to bring logic and rationale to a completely illogical and irrational situation.
But think about that, right?
No,
I think that that's something that needs to be discussed in one of our episodes of the Conspiracy Farm.
For sure, yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure they'll have some interesting. I mean, you have some lady. Actually, not in Islam. You don't really the whole. Excuse me. There's no scenario in Islam where, I mean, whatever. You're not going to find a lot of female imams, and they kind of have their separation when they pray, and it's just different, obviously, with Islam. But I'm with you. I'm with you 100%, dude. these Abraham. I call.
You just don't sound too enthusiastic about it. I think women's marches around the country and around the world should be about that.
No, I'm with it, but I'm just saying, like,
real misogynist, right?
Right. I'm with you 100%. But I mean, again, that's none of it makes sense.
You know what it just dawned on me. You and I need to come up with a plan to make the new hats, the new design for hats that'll be at those women's marches when they march against the major religions of the world.
the new hat. Break out our freaking second grade paper mache techniques, dude. Remember paper mache back in the day? Dude, we can start flaming up some good freaking paper mache hats, dude. That'd be a great live video, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be a great live video?
we'll make a paper mache Pope's dome cap, right?
Yeah. Arts and Crafts Day at the Conspiracy Farm.
That's it, dude. All the women in these marches would wear Pope hats because they should be the Pope, right?
My big brother Lance, and nothing. The Conspiracy Farm or Everything Combat does not endorse or condone any words said by Lance Wilson, but he says, "Iron my shirt."
What a jackass!
Jesus Christ!
Look, so Lance knows I iron my own shirts. So there, Lance. So there.
Lance is my big bro. Love him.
Yeah.
Catholicism is Christianity. The Vatican is who sets the dogma for Christianity as a whole, not just Catholics, and the Vatican has always been corrupt and tied to world banks. This goes Christian Sutton, and he is absolutely correct. This goes back to the Venetians, this goes back, man. This goes back a ways. And the Vatican, dude, they're I love getting into conversations about ancient civilization, whatever, and all that, the true origin of who we are, etc. The Vatican's definitely the keeper of cheese of so much of those ancient Sumerian cuneiforms because they still, to this day, like he just said, just needs to keep a hold on that old dogmatic nonsense.
We could, Lance Boo. No, we could have absolutely have Christian on as a guest, man. He's a bright dude. It'd be he'd be fun. He'd be fun.
Yeah, honestly, there's a few people who chimed in a lot with some very, very, articulate comments. My boy Tides Gall, I, asked him, maybe come on sometime. There's a lot of guests or a lot of listeners we have with some sharp shit going on in their mind grapes. So yeah, I think that's a good idea to start bringing on some guests sometimes, or bringing on some listeners.
Well, people will be able to call in when we get into the studio.
Yes, that'll be sweet, dude. There will be a call-in number.
We'll be able to pull people up on Skype. Be able to pull up callers on our Skype on the big screen in the studio with us.
And hey, let's just put this out there now, Champ. Like I said to you, listeners, farmers, freaks, fanatics, fornicators, listen, what we're going to start doing is we're going to start doing a Q&A session where you guys record a video asking a question, and then obviously Pat will screen those, but we will show those videos on the show, and we will answer those questions. So where could they send those? They could send those to either my email, jmichaelwill1l at gmail.com. You can send it to me on Twitter at I'm Jeffrey Wilson. Send it to Pat at Pat Miletich.
PJ Miletich at Hotmail. And then
PJ Miletich at Hotmail.
Yeah, and
so if you have a question, you can either record it audio wise or you can do a video of it, and we're going to screen obviously that video and then play it on the show. Listen to your question, answer your question.
Christian says people hate me. Don't ruin your ratings. Look, they're going to tune in just because they hate you.
Christian, sir, I don't know if you've listened to the Conspiracy Farm. We talk about the elite drinking blood out of the skulls of children.
I've been telling him I'm going to give him a free shirt forever. I've never gotten the shirt. I got to get the shirt.
Yeah.
We have to employ a printer. We have to employ a printer up here in the Quad Cities.
No, we got one. Shout outs to Mama Bahama's Tees down there in North Park Mall. That's where we've been up. Yeah. They're actually really inexpensive if you want to go down there. I mean, whatever. Just let me know, dude. Shoot me an email or something.
Nathan Wesley Whitmore, read that question.
Yeah, that's a very good one. So Kevin Spacey a few days ago released a video in character as Frank Underwood. Long story short, what he said kind of in the video, he's like, listen, I've paid enough dues for shit I have done. I'm not about to go down or pay a price for something I haven't done. This man is very connected to a lot of elites, your Clintons, your Jeffrey Epsteins. Basically what that video was is essentially a warning of, listen, guys, I know a lot. Because he just recently got charges pressed against him for assaulting, I think, a 6-year-old kid.
Felony sexual assault on a teenage boy.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, so it was okay. Yeah. That's crazy. So, yeah, that video was a little shot over the bow to the whatever they are, their sexual, whatever predatory business they got going on out in Hollywood. So, keep an eye on Kevin Spacey. Actually, that was very smart to do because now he really can't wind up dead because then it would be like, oh, well, he was Frank Underwood, a.k.a. Kevin Spacey was right.
We talked about all the bodies dropping before Bourdain died and some of the other people died, dude. I'm telling you, it's gonna rev up again here. Bodies are gonna start dropping again.
January 1st, isn't it? January 1st is when the executive order comes down and the Q people say the indictments will drop and sedition and hangings will begin.
I'm not going to believe that. I believe that, look, there have been a lot of people scooped up. What would they say, 6,000 or 7,000 pedophiles and human traffickers this year, I think, in this year.
It's been a lot. I will give it to Trump. He is putting the kibosh on a lot of that low level, high level. I don't give a shit because those kids that are being held captive don't care what level of depravity they're in. They're doing, what network they're in. They're dealing with some nightmarish shit. So however it happens, good thing these kids are being saved.
I had a phone conversation with a lady that I've known for a lot of years. Her daughter was raped. It was a home invasion and a rape, and the perpetrator was a gang member, and very, 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 very bad dude. And he's still out on the streets, and that's what gangbangers are doing, man. They're running people. You can sell a person over and over and over and over and over again, and then when their usefulness runs out, then you can sell their organs. So these gangbangers are doing some really heinous stuff, and when Trump says he wants the death penalty for these people, I'm 100% behind it, man. It just eradicate the scourge that we're dealing with these people. But there's a local organization dealing with human trafficking, and we're trying to tie them in potentially with Craig Sawman Sawyer's group, Vets for Child Rescue, so that they can come in and set up shop and scoop up a bunch of scumbags from the Midwest here. They've been very busy. They've been all over the place scooping these predators up, and they also talked about, there was a phone call that happened between one of the people from that organization and the owner of the I-80 truck stop, which is the biggest truck stop in the world, and that truck stop owner apparently thought that it was going to be a massive threat if this news came out that that area, that truck stop, is a kind of a hub for these human traffickers, that it was going to be a huge hit to his, it was going to be a huge hit to his business, and he was not friendly at all, from what I was told. And I think he just thought that it was going to cast a horrible shadow on his business. And I said, that's really weird. That, look, if I owned a massive business and the parking lot and the hotels and all that sort of stuff around it were being used for human trafficking and a bunch of stuff like that, I'd want it taken care of.
He's clearly a piece of shit.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I can't say that. Maybe he just.
Well, if he's worried about his bottom line, if this story comes out, it fucks with his bottom line. Like, if that's his concern, fuck.
So, I mean, I can't say one way or another 100% on what his motives are, and I'm not going to say it, but I can say that it seemed odd. It seemed very odd that someone would act like that.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's pretty plain and simple. I mean, obviously he might have some sense of a feeling, but I understand his livelihood tied to I-80 trucks up, et cetera, et cetera. But he obviously
Lance says we need to chat, and then dude with 10 exclamation points. You can't write. You can't write it, Lance. You don't want to write it.
Clearly, it goes beyond chat. Lance and I were going. Obviously, I don't know if we can move on to it. I want to talk about this latest UFC card and this PED shit with Jones. Because Lance and I were talking about it the other day, and obviously a lot of news has come out about it. The Turnaball, it was in the system for however long. It could be in your system for up to 7 years. The card this weekend, he kicked the shit out of Alexander Gustafsson, looked absolutely amazing. Amanda Nunes just absolutely destroyed Kristen Cyborg in less than a minute, I think it was, maybe 2 minutes in the first round. 50, great card. Carlos Condit. Yeah, Carlos Condit, holy crap, almost got his arm ripped off. BJ Penn taps out to a heel hook or ankle lock very early in the first round. What are your thoughts on the Jones stuff, dude, before we get into the card?
Look, I'm listening to the other athletes who have tested positive and had 2-year suspensions, like Frank Mir, who's saying he had the same level in his system, and said, wait a minute, I've tested clean over and over and over. Can we go back and test the supplements maybe that I was taking or whatever? And they said, nope, that's not it. Sorry, 2-year suspension. And then Jones tested positive several months in a row
Yeah,
and the
Nowitzki says that.
California Athletic Commission
Nowitzki reported yesterday.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying Nowitzki, everyone's been wondering. He tested for that small metabolite recently, December 8th or 9th. But then I even was asking, like, well, what about those other tests? Because he's been tested so frequently, and there supposedly wasn't. They said there wasn't need tracing before, but now Nowinski said, I think 2 days ago, he popped in August and July as well. So, I mean, I don't know. I was wondering, too, if it's in your system, even the smallest amount, does it kind of up and down and cycle through? Like, I didn't get that. Why now and then not other tests?
I don't know. That's a guy that we should probably have on our show and talk to him. I mean, but Lance Armstrong, dude, Lance Armstrong lost his mind on this whole situation, right?
Oh, I know. Yeah, totally.
I mean, I'll pull it up, what Armstrong said.
Yeah, go for it. Travis Tarpon says, Pat. What's up, Travis?
How you doing, Travis? Good to hear from you, tough guy. Hope things are well. Hope you had a good Christmas, all that. I'm sure the school's going well. Okay, let me punch this up.
It's so funny, dude. I don't really know Travis very well, but like the last time I saw him, which is probably like 25 years ago, if I remember correctly, he looked like Sid Vicious, I think it was. Like leather jacket, mohawk. I could be wrong, Travis. It might not have been you, but to my vague recollection, last time I remember seeing you, which was some party or something years and years and years and years ago, you were leathered out, you were moosed up
so
in the hair.
Remember, to go back to this, Daniel Cormier relinquishing his belt, basically saying this belt's not even worth anything. If you're going to hand one of them a belt after this fight, after the positive test, yeah, I'm just giving up my belt.
That was pretty crazy.
It says Lance Armstrong criticizes Nowitzki, the UFC. Let's see here. I can't even.
I was a rocking mess, Travis said. It's all good, bro.
Where? Hold on. I can't even find it here. Here's Lance Armstrong. I think this is Armstrong.
He went smooth the fuck off, dude. He was not happy.
And were they afraid to print? They didn't even print Armstrong's message on here because he used such harsh language, I think. What did he call Joe Rogan, dude?
A star fucker.
Armstrong lost it, dude.
He called Joe Rogan a star fucker. What? I don't know. I mean, I don't know, dude. It does seem odd. Like you said, hopefully you had mentioned something about maybe, fingers crossed, being able to get Frank on to kind of get his thoughts on it, because that very same thing did happen to him.
Okay. In a comment on Rogan's post that appeared to come from Armstrong verified account, he wrote, AKA the star fucker. Couple of questions. Why the double standard for Jones and others? And let's get right to it. What does the science and scientists say? I think I know the answer, but let's hear the star fucker speak to it.
He said, JRE with the golden snitch was ridiculous.
Nowitzki hit back at Armstrong as he destroyed his credibility. Lance Armstrong is probably one of the biggest frauds and cheats in professional sports, and he's out there making judgments. Nowitzki said he's the least credible guy to make those kinds of judgment. Here's the thing, though. How many people tested positive that were bike riders in
a lot of them, almost all of them, I think.
I mean,
a huge majority.
Like, wasn't one year they had to go down to like 15th, 16th place to find somebody that actually won who didn't test positive for something, right? So
it's not funny.
So I think from if I take that into consideration, if they were all taking PEDs and getting benefits from it, Armstrong was still the best, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, without a doubt. I think I made a post the other day, and I was like, I might be in the minority on this, but I want my fight. I want him got to the gills, dude. I want him juiced to the gills. I want big truck-ass Overeem. I want veins coming out of his fingernails, Vitor Belfort. Like, let's do this, man. It's Thunderdome. Like,
that's what Nathan Wesley Whitmore's saying. Just let them do all the juice they want. Here's the thing.
for real.
I mean, in
Pride,
certainly there was a lot of that going on. Those guys were some pretty scary dudes.
Well, I heard Ryzen's pretty they're not checking quite a bit. I think Vitor just signed up with Ryzen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
what were you saying about Pride? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, we're to have it's like Mr. Universe and Mr. Olympia and all that stuff. Everybody knows they're doing massive amounts of steroids. It's obvious. And then they've got the all-natural bodybuilding championships. So I guess you could do that in MMA if you wanted to. I think that the only thing that they're freaked about, obviously, is the fact that they're inflicting damage on each other. But if you can't keep it totally clean, and the guys that are on performance-enhancing drugs have the benefit of being stronger, faster, all that sort of stuff, and they're inflicting damage on guys that aren't, that's a discussion that I'm sure is going to come up, man.
Yeah, I mean, and I understand UFC is corporate and kind of mainstream as they are. They need to do the ASADA type stuff to keep that kind of legitimacy and all that. I get it. It's a business move, but yeah.
Well,
it was just interesting.
Are the athletic commissions and USADA and the UFC sort of tied at the hip on this one? I mean, this is some weird stuff going on.
Clearly. That's what I've heard somebody say. Jeff Savinsky even has an office in the UFC offices now. It's like they're really kind of tied at the hip.
So has it become a incestuous relationship, right? In a lot of ways, because they're dependent on each other for the money.
Well, you heard, I think it was Nate or maybe it was Nick Diaz saying, dude, come on, man, they're all on it or whatever it was. Like they're all on something or whatever. It's like I'm not knocking anybody, but it's just like whatever. You just see cats. It's like, ooh, that's a natural, really. Like when Overing first came in, it was like, damn, son, that ain't horse meat. That's Decaball or Dino. Come on now. You freaking throwing that shit. You throwing that in your cornflakes.
Wait a minute. Whitmore says plus the tiny motors they had in their rear wheels. What?
What's that?
Like electric motors? Tiny motors they had in their rear wheels.
On the Tour de France? Is that what he's saying? On the Tour de France?
I think so. I had never heard that.
No.
I'm not a
motor? You can't hear a motor?
A little electric, whatever. I don't know, man. It's pretty wild.
That juice has run out. Well, who knows, man? I don't know. I've never heard that one before.
Christian Sutton says yes. Yeah, saw a doc on it recently.
A motor on the Tour de France bikes.
Was this inside the axle or something?
He said, "Look it up." I mean, maybe it was one of those. Maybe it was one of those. As you pedal, it generates more electricity, and that. I mean, who knows? That could be. That's interesting, but it would almost have to be inside the crank, so small you couldn't see it or hear it. Like I don't understand how it would work. He said there's a documentary on it, so
pretty ingenious though.
Dude, if I see that, that's legit. We're getting him on in the wheel.
In the wheel.
I mean, I've seen it happen on normal bikes, like bicycles, but not like a freaking.
Nowitzki is a UFC employee. He has been since the UFC. Oh wow! Brought in.
And that's literally almost along the same lines as the WWE wellness program. Like it's supposed to be super Olympic level legit, but come on, dude. When you see some, I mean, just look at some of them guys. That's why.
Hey, listen. I just want to tell you. Look, my performance enhancing drug is right here, and it's called cheesecake.
We need to clip that off and put it in some kind of.
That's good stuff right there. I'm gonna be a lot stronger when I lift tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. I'm gonna be a lot stronger because of that, Jeff.
You're gonna come in looking like C.T. Fletcher when he was eating 4 hamburgers, 4 fries, 3 milkshakes, 2 apple pies.
So after each time I fought in the UFC, my favorite thing to do when I got back home, I'd fly home, I'd go straight to Hy-Vee, I'd pick up a Sara Lee cheesecake tin, and I'd eat the whole thing. And that's what I'm doing right now. I rode 28 boring miles on a stationary bike today and sat in the sauna for 30 minutes. And this is something that I posted actually earlier. people that don't know sauna etiquette, I know some of the people that are watching us maybe read what I posted on Twitter and Facebook. I got furious today, dude, because I had 28 miles. You know, either way, it was a good ride. You know, because my legs were sore from yesterday because I did a bunch of quarter-mile sprints. So anyway, I get done with that and I go get in a sauna, and I've got one of my big water bottles with me, and people that are getting in and out of the sauna, they just walk in nonchalantly, leave the door wide open. That's not what you do in a sauna. The sauna is meant to be hot. You're supposed to get it as hot as you possibly can.
I hate those people, dude.
And
I hate those
all
people.
these people. And when we'd cut weight, we'd all be in the sauna, a bunch of us, and somebody would do that at a hotel or something. We'd all scream, you know, hurry the fuck up, you know, yell at them, say, get in or get out, you know, everybody freak out, you know. The people be like, Jesus, I'm just a guest at the hotel here. I'm fucking cutting weight. They don't know any better, right? So anyway,
geez.
so today it's everybody's hitting their New Year's resolutions early, apparently. And they're all at the Y, and they're getting in and out of the sauna, and they're taking their sweet ass time, and there's a draft coming in each time, and it's cold. So I just start spraying water on the rocks and splashing it all over the wood wall, so it's going to evaporate and get it hot. And I just said to myself, I go, I'm literally going to try to cook the meat off these people's bones. I'm going to get it so hot in here. And some guy, some poor dude from, it's probably originally from Pakistan or India or something, sitting there, and he goes, sir, please stop. And I go, why? And he goes, it's too hot. I go, look, you guys are the ones leaving the damn door open. I go, this is what you're supposed to do in a sauna. It's supposed to be hot.
Oh, okay? Jesus God.
So I got it up to like 230, 240, something like that. I was cooking them. I stayed in. I was mad, so I stayed in for 30 minutes straight and just kept spraying water everywhere.
Well, you must have lost some weight. But now you're like negating it now, stuffing your pie hole with the big Sara Lee cheesecake.
28 miles, 30 minutes in the sauna, cheesecake. You know
was it 2 steps forward, 4 steps back? That's hilarious, dude. And this man is training for Leadville, ladies and gentlemen. This man is training for Leadville.
Dan Gable said you can eat anything you want as long as you're willing to work it off. Right?
That is very true. That is very well, and you're no stranger to putting in the work too. So yeah, you know, whatever works for you, bro. I ain't mad at you.
All the guys that do the Leadville stuff make fun of me because I can't keep up with them. It's brutal.
Sauna bully. Pickett called you a sauna bully, dude. No, you can't do that shit to normal people, Christian said. Sir, please stop.
I'm telling you, man. I literally tried cooking human beings today. It was awesome. It was good.
We got some fantastic sound bites out of this video today, dude.
You think?
My PED is cheesecake. I tried to cook people today, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Awesome. So what do we?
The rest of the card. Let's hold up before the rest of the card. John Jones and BJ. What are your thoughts on that, man? Do you know BJ very well? What is that, dude? That made me sad. The last 3 fights he's had that he lost made me sad.
Yeah, man, I love BJ Penn, and I think that was his last fight. Obviously, I think we've said that for.
How is Dana with a straight face going to talk about how Chuck shouldn't fight, and then allow BJ to fight?
Right, because BJ's vulnerable to getting hurt, you know, with headshots and stuff. He's can't really take a shot anymore. So it's. That's the
first person to submit BJ Penn, dude. The first person to submit BJ Penn.
Like, it was a very slick rolling leg lock into a heel hook, a reverse heel hook nonetheless, which is the most terrifying submission in the game. Will absolutely destroy your leg. And the thing that freaked me out a little bit is BJ tried to spin the wrong way and spun into the pressure, which surprised me, given how much knowledge he has and how fluid he is on the ground normally. But that was unfortunate. I don't like seeing that. And BJ was the most talented, I think, natural ability level fighter that I'd ever seen. He just
hence the name of the prodigy, right?
I mean, when he was young, remember the psycho Navy SEAL drills where you run on the bottom of the ocean with a boulder in your arms, you know? And he could surf like a machine. The surfing, I tell you what, those surfers and the surfers that do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, their balance is really, really uncanny. It's really amazing. They truly are like getting a cat off its feet. They're pretty impressive. So that's
He's the
what
one I
he
saw
was.
jumping out of I think it was like a 3 foot pool, jumping out of a 3 foot pool onto the deck. I was like, whoa, dude's got some ups.
Yeah, yeah, very, very athletic. But yeah, so that was sad to see him lose. But and I actually didn't even watch the event. I watched some of the replays and stuff. So
Yeah, I actually I went down to Hooters to watch it and they didn't have it, so I had to go to this weird kind of skanky weird bar to watch it. But I don't know. I really wanted to see the Nunez Cyborg fight.
If I would have watched it, that's why I would have watched it.
Yeah,
because actually both those ladies very, very nice people, and they both started in the United States in Strikeforce. So
yeah,
I called
we've had conspiracy. I'm sorry. Yeah, we did have him on Conspiracy Farm. Did Thomas, who was Nunez's trainer, one of them anyway.
Right.
That's when you were doing stuff for the Conor McGregor Mayweather fight. But yeah.
Right.
Who else was on that card? Who else did we see? Chad Mendez caught
retired,
a L.
correct?
Did he?
Yeah, I believe he's retiring.
Okay. Yeah, I know he caught an L last night, but and then Carlos Condit caught a really wicked, man, armed, like twisted back. I've always really liked Carlos Condit, man. Just
yeah, I've always liked him. It started out as a P-lock. But yeah, so I mean, think of Donald Cerrone, how long he's been around and how many fights he's had and how successful he's been compared to all the other people that you've seen fight in the UFC over the years. A guy like Donald Cerrone, who's been around for as long as he has and fought as many tough people as he has. You look at the people he's fought and you go, man, that's murderer's row. I love Donald Cerrone. That guy. Sure. And the things he speaks his mind. He's what you see is what you get with him. And as far as the PED stuff, God, he kind of spilled the beans on his old gym, didn't he?
I'm not sure.
Where he was talking about the upstairs, the chiropractic office, and all that sort of stuff. Go upstairs and get what you need, type thing.
Where was he at? Where was he at?
He was at friggin' Jackson Winklejohn's, dude. But there could be bad blood or whatever. But it was crazy. I couldn't believe he said it. I went, what?
Yeah, he did leave those guys. There was some heat there, and he wound up leaving. I think his last fight he fought was one of his first without JW. But yeah, I mean, crazy, the world of the UFC. So all right, Amanda Nunez, Cyborg. That didn't last long. Did you think that go as you? I mean, I lost my shit, dude. I always lose my shit on fight night, but
I thought maybe the size of Cyborg would give her some problems, but. I called a Muay Thai fight that Cyborg had against Irina Barsh. Irina Barsh was and is the best female Muay Thai fighter on the planet. I think she's 55-0 or something like that. And Irina Barsh dropped Cyborg 3 times during that fight. Cyborg really never had a chance against her. So Nunes is just a more refined, smoother striker. She just is. She's got very, very good technique. And Cyborg she gets wild. She's very wild with her punches and overwhelms people with her power. And Nunes wasn't having any of it. She was sharpshooting the whole time, man. She was connecting.
When I think a lot of times, almost like Tyson-esque, a lot of people are beat already before the fight, just mentally, just because Cyborg is Cyborg, and Amanda didn't seem to fall for any of that. I was just like. Because they just start swinging on each other, and you're exactly right. I saw it was kind of that Vanderlei. So once Vanderlei gets to those things, he just loops. Whereas Amanda was really clean, man. It was super.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was able to counter. Clean. Yeah, it was very, very. I was just like, whoa. I'm like, somebody's going to sleep. Like, I don't know which one it is, but somebody's going to sleep. But that was pretty awesome, dude.
The commentator started talking about Brock Lesnar. What did Dominic Cruz say? I read about it today. He said that they were talking about Jones, and Dominic Cruz goes, and it's a pretty good quote. I got to admit, I got to hand it to him. It was pretty good line. He goes, if if John Jones has a picogram in him, then Brock Lesnar has a brick.
A picogram.
That's pretty.
Yeah, I guess that if the picogram is if you take a grain of salt and cut it up 50 million times and cut that in half or some weird show. It's like, what?
Yeah, whatever.
I know, I know. All right, main event then. John Jones, Alexander Gustafsson. Technically, before was obviously one of Jones's hardest fights, obviously one of Gustafsson's hardest fights, but goes down as one of the best light heavyweight fights. What are your thoughts? I mean, John did, after 2 years away, look that good against somebody who's been fighting way more frequently and was his former toughest competitor.
Smart and used his wrestling better too, didn't he?
He did. His whole, like, it reminded me when Lance used to beat me up, my older brother. Like, he was just, like, holding him towards the end there. He was just holding his head down, just, like, almost little brother style. It was just like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah.
And even Gustafsson at the end, he's like, he told John, he's like, dude, you are really strong. Even Chael Sonnen said when they fought, he's like a bear, dude.
Well, picograms will do that to you.
Shut the fuck up. That was no damn picogram. I think Jonathan Jones is really, it's unfortunate because he kind of gets in his own way, but from a fighting standpoint, the dude is a freaking monster.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. No, he is. He's good. Did you see Ben Askren's quote above John Jones asking Daniel Cormier if he can come to that wrestling meet? Oh my God, you got to hear this one, dude.
John, what is it?
Askren has been trolling every fighter in the UFC, right?
I've been watching him on social media. It's pretty awesome.
I read it and went, holy shit.
Stephen Watt said Gus had the underhook and half guard and never really used it to get up. I mean, dude, for what Gus said, he was going to pressure him and all this other stuff, he just didn't. He seemed, for as oddly as for what he said in the pre-fight stuff of how urgent he was to get the belt and beat John Jones, he didn't fight like it. And I'm not a fighter and I'm not in there, but he definitely did have that sense of urgency in the fight that he said he was going to.
Hold on, dude.
He's the little brother of two 300-pound NFL players. He had to be strong. The other stuff just helps. Yeah, no, absolutely. Can you imagine the ass kickings John Jones took as a kid? His big, long ass, fucking 81-inch reach, dude. Come on.
I think it's 84.
I think it's 81. I think you're wrong.
Look it up.
I'm about to. But still, either way, like he's like built for fighting.
Where is it? Damn it.
John Jones' reach. Anybody help me look that up? John Jones. Oh, here it is.
Okay. Here it is. Listen. So John Jones says, "Hey, DC MMA." That's Daniel Cormier's Twitter. Am I allowed at the Montini Wrestling Dual Meet? And he tagged Flow Wrestling in it also. Askren comes back with, most parents don't want cokeheads who use PEDs and do hit and runs on pregnant women to being role models.
Yes!
Oh, Askren is
my
just
dude.
on fire.
My dude. I love it, dude. I love it.
Wow.
He's going to be good at this, dude. He's really going to maximize this opportunity, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love Askren, but I love Rob Lawler more, of course, and so that's a tough one for me, man. I'm hoping my boy Lawler wins that fight, of course. And so
yeah. I mean, unfortunately, probably for me too. Yeah,
that's
we gotta holler at him, man. At some point in time, I know you said he's not a huge media guy, but I mean, I would love to pick his brain and find out where that freaking just weird laser I'm gonna beat the shit out of you look comes from, and that like focus. Even in the fifth round, at the end of the fifth round, he walked out at Johnny Hendricks, still wanting to just a piece of him, dude.
Yeah, that was
crazy.
Beautiful. That was a beautiful sight.
Has he always been that way? I mean, is that where kind of Ruthless comes from? Has he always really been that kind of just like pit bull? You got to like really just pull back.
Well, I mean, when he was younger, the thing is in the gym, he would spar with control and pick people apart. He would make people miss the whole time and just dismantle people. And then when because he was so young, he'd get in the cage in the UFC and just go nuts and blitz people. And, you know, we'd walk away from the fight and I'd go, why do you do that? Why don't you just do what you do in the gym, and you just won't get hit, you won't get hurt, you'll have a lot better health later on in life, this and that. And he goes, I just want to get it over with, Pat. I don't want to be in there. I don't like being in there. I just want to get it over with, right? So he was just young, and it was somewhat out of fear too, right? Remember, Tyson said he was terrified every time he fought.
Absolutely.
You know, even though they were complete killers, there's that fear, right? But they're overcoming it and doing what they got to do. But as he got older, you know, I was calling his fights at Strikeforce, and that's when he was at 185, and he shouldn't have been at 185 ever. And nobody was just going out and kicking his ass. I mean, Tim Kennedy beat him by decision, and backstage, I talked to Tim Kennedy after that fight. You know, Kennedy was cutting down from 225 pounds. He's a big dude.
What did he fight? Yeah. Didn't Nick got him? Didn't he? What weight was that?
That was 170, but that was when Robbie was 18, 19, whatever. So anyway, but Tim Kennedy looked at me and goes, "Dude, I've never felt power like that out of anyone in my life." And Robbie's not a 185 pounder. And I mean, Tim goes, "I'm getting stitches in every location he touched me, and he grazed me." He goes, and I still felt the power. He goes, it was terrifying how hard that guy hits. So, but a lot of people, including myself, would talk to Rob and said, just drop back down to 170, win the world title in the UFC, make a bunch of money, and then retire, dude. Take care of your family. And he finally did it. Yeah, it was awesome. And everybody was saying, when he was fighting Josh Koscheck for his first fight back in the UFC, everybody's like, Koscheck is going to kill him. I go, you have no clue what is about to happen to Josh Koscheck. You have you can train with anybody you want, but you have not felt that power out of a 170-pound fighter ever, anywhere. I don't care where you go. You will not. I mean, the only guy I've seen with that kind of power around that size would be, the Antoine Eccles level boxer, and D-Ray Crane. D-Ray Crane was from Davenport. D-Ray was scary. He could have been a world champion boxer, but he went into the military. And I see pictures of him. He's out traveling around, riding his motorcycle all over the world, doing some cool stuff. He's having a good time. But I think he recognized the dirtiness of fighting and all that sort of stuff. And he got
D-Ray sounds like a bad cat, dude. I don't know. He's
D-Ray's a very bright guy, and he recognized when he got screwed out of the spot on the United States Olympic boxing team. He got screwed. That he was done.
What happened? How did he get screwed?
He got screwed on decisions. He wrecked the guy twice in a row and got screwed on decisions. So it was one of those. Roy Jones got screwed out of the Olympic gold medalist, by Korea. It was that sort of thing. It was sad, but Robbie's a unique individual, man, and he's quiet unless you get to know him. Once you get to know him, very few people he allows in, and that's just the way he is.
Right. But, that's cool.
But he is one of the funniest son of a guns you'll ever meet. Once you get to know him. Right. So I'll try and talk him into coming on. How's that?
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a minute. Let the fight chill or whatever. But yeah,
Well, we had Askren on, right?
Yeah. No, yeah, we're doing shit. We're doing the damn thing, dude. Ain't no stopping this train.
Right. Absolutely.
So who does Woodley fight next? I'm sorry. Woodley fights. Isn't Woodley fighting Kuzman?
Colby Covington.
No, he's fighting that or Usman. He's fighting Usman, I think, next.
If he fights Usman next, that's a scary dude.
Yeah, that's cool though.
Kamaru Usman.
That's it. Yeah.
He's who did Usman just fight? Oh God.
I don't remember.
Oh, no, it's slipping my mind. But everybody was going off saying Usman was going to get destroyed, and I just laughed. I was like, Usman is just a monster, absolute destroyer. So
Yoel Romero, that's who I was thinking about a bit ago. And like you look at Yoel Romero, and he's freaking my age. He's like 40 something, and he's just freaking jacked. Just. Genes. I think that's genetics, but I mean, obviously he's been tested. He's like, I get tested a lot, dude, and I've never popped.
Speaking of good wrestlers, Brandon Adamson's come on, and Joe Jordan is watching. Both their sons. Brandon's got two sons that are wrestling varsity for Bettendorf, and Joe Jordan's boy. They moved out out to the Southwest. His boy just won a big tournament out west. Their
Nice.
kids are great wrestlers, man. How you guys doing? It was pretty cool. Pretty cool to see.
Wrestling.
I remember their sons being little guys running around my gym, man, and now they're tearing people up on the wrestling mats.
Good thing to see.
Pretty cool stuff, man.
Sitting under the right learning tree.
Dos Anjos, Stephen Watt. Thank you, Stephen. Yeah, everybody said Dos Anjos was going to beat Usman, and I was like, yeah, no. Anjos got destroyed. And the thing that people don't realize is everybody was gauging Dos Anjos off his fight with Lawler when Lawler had a torn ACL the whole fight. Lawler couldn't even
still
walk.
Stayed right in the pocket, dude. He did not move, run like he stayed.
Dos Anjos couldn't do anything to hurt him. So Rob just covered up and just said, "You can't. There's nothing you can do to me."
Right.
So that was frustrating. I knew something was wrong, but all right, Jeff. Yeah. We'll see you, buddy. Good night.
Jeff, get out of here. Well, yeah, brother. Let's go ahead and just shut her down, man. I mean, thanks for everybody for chilling out. 2018 has been sweet. We have awesome plans. We have, people have been asking. It's been a long time, Champ, since we've been able to really get together and do the Conspiracy Farm, do things the way we want to really do it consistently. And we now have that avenue, ladies and gentlemen. Every single Monday evening, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., 93.5 KJAC, ESPN Radio. Pat and I will be on Everything Combat, hosting together Everything Combat, because everything in life, everything is a fight. And then we also have works with Dish TV to put both shows on TV, Everything Combat and the Conspiracy Farm. We do not have that channel locked in yet, but you will be able to find that anywhere where Dish TV and Dish Network is available. Dish and Direct.
And so because of all of this stuff, we're going to have the digital platforms. We're going to have the Stitcher account, the SoundCloud, the YouTube, the local radio, and then also Direct and Dish Network that'll be available to 60 million homes. We would love some sponsors.
Oh, they're coming. But yeah, we've actually we've talked about it. We've already been in touch. Had some amazing sponsors already coming out of the quad. But we will also be looking for national sponsors, as we will also have our show on our website, which is in construction right now, and we will be announcing it's Conspiracy. TheConspiracy.farm is that website. It's not up yet, and everythingcombat.com. It will be up very soon. It's not quite up yet, but when it is, you'll be able to find both episodes, both shows, all the sponsors.
I'm looking forward to wearing gentlemen's cooperative suits for every show we do.
If I can only get my gentleman's cooperative suit from our good friend Mike Burnson. We hope so.
They make beautiful stuff.
I don't know who we got to. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so thank you, everybody. And I really wanted to make sure we got this done. I wanted to hold off on doing any new episodes because since this new venture is popping off, we're going to wait to do Conspiracy Farm as well as Everything Combat till we get in the studios. Huge guests coming up on Everything Combat.
Locked
and loaded. It's not even just be always huge guests because we always want to. We want to be able to talk to just regular folks overcoming stuff in life to really kick ass and really transcend whatever they think is going to hold them back. So we're looking forward to those conversations. Like I said, 2019 is going to be sweet. I'm very much so looking forward. And thank you to everyone for your patience because, like I said, we've been getting a lot of questions of where the heck we're at. It's been kind of a small little hiatus we've been on, but believe me, hard work is still taking place. We can take this business to the next level.
So now what I want you to do tonight, or when you're driving back to the Quad Cities, you have to put on the Michael Bublé song Home.
Do I?
Michael Bublé song Home.
Bublé? Bublé?
As much as I travel, dude, that became one of my favorite songs just simply because I was on 180 flights a year losing my mind.
Oh, I know. I'll have to throw it on. I've never heard it, but I've definitely heard of Michael Bublé.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Sweet.
But you kind of want to have a love interest back here, but you know that could be me for now.
Yeah. Willie. I can't wait to come back and see Willie. Willie is the only dog I've ever seen that is a professional at servicing himself, ladies and gentlemen. He is a master. He is an absolute master. You have to see it to believe it. But I was just like, whoa, you can take that on the road. You got the bearded lady, the strongman, and Willie, the self-servicing Labrador. I love Willie. Right. All right, brother. Happy New Year, everyone. Enjoy your 2019. Don't make any silly resolutions, man. Just get after it. Do it. Don't talk about it. Be about it. Holler, we're coming. 93.5. Let's go.
Yeah.